everybody, welcome to This Week in the 90s.
Hi.
I'm Sarah Tiana.
Hey, it's me,
What's your name?
Chris Brown.
All right, we are taping this while the baby is napping, so
Yeah.
hopefully that all goes well. I'm taping it on my puzzle that I just finished.
Oh my goodness.
This is an Italian.
I'll tell you what, is this just a phase or like puzzles here to stay? Because I'm just about over it. Kind of like quarantine. I'm like kind of over the puzzles. I mean, I'm ready to like meet some new games.
Like what? What do you want me to do instead?
Just something. I mean, maybe you could take up art, like start painting, or like just something that doesn't take up the entire table.
Oh, because you use this table so much.
Well, I can't. I haven't been able to in like 6 months
You've
because there's
never
always been puzzles here.
Use this table.
That's not true.
Except to maybe throw your things down on when you get back from work.
I used to love breakfast here.
Yeah.
This is our breakfast nook, and so
You can still eat breakfast here.
Well, I don't want to like
Cage eats breakfast here.
something on the puzzle. He has a high chair.
You need a high chair.
I would love a high chair. Do they make adult high chairs?
Probably.
What items that are generally regarded as infant or kid only would you like to have as an adult?
Oh, like a rattle?
Or just, or like a teething thing, or like...
I'd like to have 2 naps a day. That's what I would like to have.
Gosh, could you imagine?
Of the baby.
Two-hour naps, or, 1 to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. I know that's what you would love.
Well, I mean, I used to... There was a whole year, did I ever tell you this? There was a whole year where I tracked my naps.
There's nothing more believable than the fact that you
Where's my
track
phone?
your
Oh,
naps
we're using my phone to record.
on your notes.
But
Because you also record every time you fill up with gas, you record how much you spend on that.
Yeah, so for my old car, which was an Acura, I kept a detailed log of my gas, how much I put in, both dollar-wise and gallon-wise, and then what my odometer read. And
For what purpose?
Just to have. I just wanted to track how my gas mileage was doing each time, or how often I was filling up.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that car in October of 2012, and I finally got rid of it last November.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like it's 7 years of gas log. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I have the information.
I know what you're going to do with it. You're going to keep it forever. Like, oh, look at this.
Well, as long as I have the notes function on my phone, I guess I will keep it forever.
So then you tracked your naps as well.
So so I was keeping track. 1 year I decided to keep track of how often I was napping. So I would track the day and for how long. Rough estimate, not exact.
Uh-huh.
Down to the 5-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then I would also track my gym days. So like whether I was going to the gym that day and how it correlated to my nap duration.
And how long did you nap for that year?
I think I stopped keeping track in like August, maybe July. Mm-hmm. So I did it for half the year. I was napping a lot.
No, I believe it. You were a big napper when
I think like 1 month was like over 30 hours. Like a whole day.
As a grown-up.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 36, maybe 35, 36 at the time.
Is that what you miss the most, being able to nap now that we have Cage?
I think, yes, I very much miss sleep. Like, just take for today, for instance. Awoken at 4 and then never really got back to sleep. So, I mean, I think any parent will tell you that the thing they miss the most is sleep. It was funny, like, oh yeah, kids come on, get your sleep now, everyone used to say, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, babies sleep all the time.
He did at first. We could nap all the time with him at first.
Yeah. I haven't gotten real great at, like, when he's napping, oh, that's when I should rest.
Yeah, I know, but you're just like so happy to have some quiet. Like you feel like, oh, this is also when I could get this done. Yeah,
you're trying to catch up on things that you can't really do throughout the, I mean, you know this probably more than me, but things you can't do during the day when really all I thought in the beginning was like, oh, that'll be my time to take a 60 to 90 minute, like, nice rest and kind of catch up and maybe feel refreshed for the rest of the day, and that is not how it works.
No. Also, if you were to try to do that, I would probably throw things at you.
I wouldn't be able
I would
to.
have been so mad that you were not.
Ow, that's a wooden car.
Okay. Yeah.
So going back to my original point was, yes, I want a high chair.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for bringing it full circle.
Full circle. Just there we go. But hey, it's episode 10.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Episode 10.
Yeah, you're the
I don't keep
evens,
track
and I'm the odds.
of the number, but cool. Episode 10.
Odds.
10 episode anniversary.
Evens.
That makes sense.
Cool. What'd you give me?
Yeah. I got you a lot of notes on a shitty week.
Was it bad?
There just wasn't a lot of cool stuff that happened this week. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff was like, Iran made a deal with Palestine, like Kuwait decided not to dig this, and I'm like, boring.
Wow.
So my week is October 4th through the 10th.
Okay.
And also, I'd just like to say October 7th falls this week. That is my sister Joanna's birthday. So happy birthday to my sister.
Oh, my week last week had my brother's birthday.
So look at that.
How about that?
And then
Shout out siblings.
October 6th is when my friend Ralphie May passed away. So R.I.P. Ralphie May.
All right.
So big week for our family. So my week is October 4th through the 10th, 1992.
Oh.
You don't like that year?
Well, 1992 was a tough one.
Why?
Actually, I have no idea. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I was 12.
Yeah, I was 14. I was going into a freshman in high school. So zero fun being a freshman in high school, but exciting also because it's like, whoa, high school. It's like something you think about the whole time you're in school. Those kids seem so big, and then
Right.
you get there and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like now we're all the same size.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I remember when I was a freshman in high school, which wasn't until much later because you're way older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Playing football and thinking there was a separate freshman locker room. So there was like the varsity locker room,
Mm-hmm.
10 through 12, and then the freshman locker room. And I remember like being so terrified as a freshman to walk through the varsity locker room because there was a separate entrance for each to the gym. Like the freshman locker room had its own entrance, and it was also the visitors' locker room for basketball games or whatever. And just being terrified to walk through. What if they say something? Will they make fun of me? And I remember thinking they were enormous. They were so much bigger and older looking.
Yeah.
Even though I've always looked old.
Yeah.
Growing up, but they were so much older looking than all of us. It felt like, and then when I was in that position, I didn't feel much older than the freshmen who were coming in. It was so bizarre to me the
dynamic.
in the dynamic between
Yeah.
the freshmen and seniors when I was a freshman and then when I was a senior. So.
Yeah. I can just remember like the distinction between like the cheerleaders, there was like definite cliques.
Yeah.
Like, and that was like the first thing you really realize in high school. You're like, the cheerleaders, the football players, and like I was always in theater, but I also played softball. So I like hung out with a lot of the athletes because I played softball and basketball my freshman year. The cheerleading coach wanted me to be a cheerleader, but I didn't want to be because my mom would always be like, Sarah, in life, you want people to cheer for you. You don't want to cheer for them.
No,
but we just couldn't afford a cheerleading outfit. So, it was like a little bit, you just start realizing, I guess, the economy of society, so to speak.
Yeah,
you're like, the haves and the have-nots. And like people who could afford nice clothes, like all of that becomes very clear once you get into high school.
Yeah, same. It was just thinking about lunch.
Yeah.
Lunch is a huge deal. If you watch
you sit.
You watch all these teen movies, and they're accurate. Like, where you sit matters. Who you're sitting with matters. And in my high school, so they underwent a huge renovation my junior year. And so they built a brand new cafeteria. So the old cafeteria from when I was a freshman was this small little room downstairs that ended up getting turned into like a computer lab later on. But it was the cafeteria. And so there was definitely not enough room for freshmen to be in the cafeteria. So as a freshman, you just ate outside. And so you just had to find a place outside, whether it was on the grass or on a picnic table or in front of the gym or by the science building. And so our high school was kind of set up like a college campus where we had different buildings.
Oh, yeah, you had a big high school.
And, being a freshman, you didn't eat in the same place every day. Whereas, and then you fast forward to when I was a senior, we definitely had the football table. It was this big table and it was round and there was probably like 15 of us. And, all the important football players sat at that table. And our coach was always imploring us to take back the school. It was really interesting back in 1998.
Sounds like a lot of testosterone.
There was a lot happening back then. But yeah, it's so interesting.
My week, like I said, wasn't really that. There weren't a lot of huge things that definitely nothing that I remember.
Okay.
But there were some cool things that happened. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of cool things that happened.
I'm excited for cool things.
So on October 9th, 1992.
The puzzle's kind of wet over here.
Great.
Just pointing that out.
That's awesome.
I didn't do it.
A wet puzzle is always really fun to put together. October 9th, 1992.
Okay.
The Peekskill meteorite hits a family's driveway in New York.
The what?
Yes. So I guess it's one of the most historic meteor crashes on record. It happened in Peekskill, New York.
Okay. Where is that, by the way?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't look that up. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It weighed 26 pounds and it measured 1 foot in diameter. So like about as much as our sun.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. It was estimated to be 4.4 billion years old.
Holy smokes.
Meteorites are part of asteroids that have broken off or whatever.
Right.
So, it was rare because this one was actually witnessed by thousands and thousands of people. Like you could see it streaming through the sky. It was bright green, and like 16 different people got it on video. Like this is VHS, right? Not everybody had an iPhone.
Those crappy ass camcorders.
Yes, and it was because it happened on a Friday night when people were recording football games.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, can you believe that?
Wow.
So that's why this one in particular has so much footage.
Yeah.
Because of Friday Night Lights,
that's
basically.
Incredible.
And I watched a bunch of the videos, and it's like a giant green ball of fire, like coming through the sky. And it's insane. It started out going in the atmosphere. It started going 8.8 miles per second, 31,600 miles per hour. And then by the time it got over New York, it was going 164 miles an hour. So it like kind of broke up around Kentucky, and Virginia, and then this big piece as well.
So it came in from the left to right, if you're looking at the map. That's how it came in.
Yes, it came in from west to east.
Got it.
Southwest heading northeast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so...
And it crashed into someone's driveway?
Crashed into someone's driveway, into the driveway of Michelle Knapp, and it hit her 1980 red Chevy Malibu.
Wait, so it hit the car?
It went through the trunk of the car. And it missed her gas tank by like inches. So if it had hit the gas tank...
That boom!
Yeah, explosion, because it's metal, basically. And I mean, I don't know if the meteorite itself would have caught on fire, but it was on fire coming through the air.
It was on fire, and it would have hit the gas tank.
She said it sounded like a 3-car crash when it hit. And
wait, so they were just inside chilling?
She was inside her house, yeah.
So they were awake.
They were awake. It was because Friday Night Lights, like football games were going on, so it was like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. at night. And so...
Wow.
So she was able to retrieve the meteorite, and it was sold to a consortium of 3 buyers for $50,000.
Total?
Yes. And like 3 people, like a group of people bought it.
Okay, imagine being so into this that you are scrounging up, $17K to buy a piece of a. You want to go? You have these? No, we can't do it. I don't have the scratch. Can we get a third guy? We got a third guy? Great.
Yeah, we'll get Kevin. We'll tell him to just pitch in $10,000.
Yeah,
10%.
And so he owns 25% of this meteor.
Yeah.
And then you're just and you want to buy the meteor.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, what happens when you buy it is that you can start selling pieces of it. to other people.
Oh,
so you can
okay.
break it up yourself and sell it to other collectors. And I think...
Well, I want a piece of my media.
Yeah, it's still, specimens of it are selling for $125 a gram. Still.
What?
Yeah. So people are still like dealing the meteor. And the car...
I'm not a drug dealer. I'm a media dealer. No, it's cool, man.
Hey, there's a lot of nerds out there.
Hit me up with 4 grams of that meteor from 1992.
What would you do if you saw, like, somebody was like, "You want to see my meteor?"
I'm like, wait, you mean a rock? You want me to come see the rock that you have in your house?
The worst pickup line I've ever heard. Yeah, I'll go see The Rock in a movie, but I ain't gonna come see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna see your rock in your mother's basement.
It's fascinating to think that something like that far away and that owning something that old. I know some people get them made into wedding rings. Like Chris Hardwick has one that's like part of a meteorite or something.
Oh, really?
In his wedding ring, yeah.
He's a super nerd, so that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's the first to tell you, like,
exactly.
It's like fossil bone and meteorite.
Cool.
Okay, well, you ran out of ideas. When you have that much money and you marry a Hearst.
Right.
Yeah.
What happened to just gold?
I'm good with gold.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even need a diamond.
Totally fine.
So she had just purchased, get this, she had just purchased the car for $500, the Malibu.
Wait, so this is 1992.
1992.
And she bought a 12-year-old car?
Yes, 12-year-old car for $500.
Oh, man.
And then the lady of a meteorite, dealer, collector, bought that car for $25,000.
Wait.
Yes.
So the lady made $50K off the rock.
Yes.
And then another $25 off of her shitbag car that she bought for $500.
Yeah, she had just bought it like a week before.
That is incredible.
Isn't that awesome? Like, what about, that's basically like winning like a small lottery.
This is even
having a meteorite.
Yeah, the odds
of a meteorite.
Yeah, exactly. You have better odds of winning the lottery than you do of having a 5 billion-year-old rock come hurtling through the earth on fire.
Yeah.
And crash into your piece of shit car.
The thing is, I know. 17 meteorites hit Earth a day. Still, we just don't ever see them because they're smaller. Or they hit most of the Earth does not have a lot of population. They hit the ocean. They hit I think
70% of the Earth is water. So I gotta imagine a lot of these just
hit the
crash
ocean.
into the ocean.
Yeah.
Right.
But for it to hit a driveway in New York,
and hit a car. What color was the car?
Red.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there are pictures of it as well. So I'll try to put pictures of those up. But a red Chevy Malibu, and you can see it's just the back right side of the trunk is all dented in, and it was just so funny.
So you said this thing is about a foot wide?
Diameter, so a foot all the way around. But it weighs 26 pounds.
So it's like a basketball, like a 26-pound basketball.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hurling through the sky, It started out at 31,000 miles an hour, and then turned into 164
it's like
miles an hour.
Transformers type shit. That's awesome.
Pretty crazy.
Pretty cool.
The most recent meteorite struck right next to Cuba and left falling rocks all over the island. So they definitely still hit every day. So if you're lucky enough to find one or get one,
when's
be worth a lot of money.
When's the one coming the size of a Chevy Malibu that gets us all out of our misery?
Not soon enough. Not soon enough. So that was that's the Peekskill meteorite. So that was kind of cool. I was
How about that? Yeah, that's
I
really
just saw it written down, and I was like, let me investigate this. And then I got all into it. When it said red Chevy Malibu, and I tuned in, I'm like,
you had me at Chevy Malibu.
Yeah, okay, I'm listening. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun looking at that. Also on this same day, October 9th, was the premiere of the Steven Seagal great movie Under Siege.
Oh, man.
Do you remember Under Siege?
Okay, so my memory of Under Siege is this. There is a scene. Do you know who is the actress in that movie?
Oh, I don't know. Because I just know Tommy Lee Jones was the other guy.
Can you just look that up real quick?
Yeah,
So I would have been 12, right? This was still at a time when, whenever there was a sex scene in a movie, we had to close our eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Because, your parents...
Oh, Erica Elena.
Erica Elena. Oh yeah, she
The
was on
Playmate?
she was on Baywatch, right? Was
Yes.
she playing okay, so there is a scene in which she pops out of a cake, I believe. Okay?
Yes.
And I remember distinctly watching, I was in our recliner, and my dad made me cover my eyes when this scene happened while we were watching this movie. And I did, because I was like a goody two-shoes back then.
Right.
And then he was like, okay, it's over, you can look again.
Okay.
And then we watched that's my memory of this movie.
So Steven Seagal almost didn't do the movie because of that scene.
Wait, because he wanted it to be more graphic, or it was included at all?
He had problems with a character who is at first a bimbo jumping out of a cake and gets paired up with me. Like, he had problems with her being a bimbo. But he said that in revisions of the script, the role became a character who gradually reveals her intelligence, so he became okay with it.
Wait, and by intelligence, he means her breasts out of a cake?
So he basically talked himself in, like, he was trying to be like, oh, like, no.
It's like, well, no, I want this character to have depth. I don't want her to
It's
just
like,
be
it's not your script. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
But,
wow.
Yeah, he was trying to be all, like, so, yeah.
He's trying to be a good guy, trying to stand up for...
Yeah, just like a traditional martial artist with that respect.
Yeah, I'd respect, women and...
Playmates?
Yeah, I'd respect playmates.
Yes.
Playmates have feelings, too.
So, if you don't know, if you've never seen Under Siege, Steven Seagal plays an ex-Navy SEAL who is now a cook on the
submarine,
USS
right?
Missouri and must stop a group of mercenaries led by Tommy Lee Jones. And so...
Great concept for a movie.
I think Steven Seagal is a cook now, right? So he's definitely like an ex-active military person who's probably really a cook. That's probably all he's qualified for. But the director of the movie, he had just made a movie with Seagal called Above the Law.
Yeah.
And then did this movie and then got a lot of heat because Tommy Lee Jones was actually in the movie more than Seagal. And like Seagal was kind of like the guy that they wanted in this movie or whatever.
Right.
But then Harrison Ford saw a cut of the movie and hired Andrew Davis to shoot The Fugitive. So he got The Fugitive because of Under Siege.
Wait, so the same guy who directed The Fugitive directed Under Siege first?
Yes.
What?
And The Fugitive is Chris's favorite movie.
It's one of my favorite movies. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. So that's probably where he got Tommy Lee Jones to be in The Fugitive as well?
Yeah. So it's like kind of like this like little group that, like started.
That's amazing. Also amazing that this is a Steven Seagal movie with only 2 words in the title. Because if you run down Steven Seagal's movies from back in the day, they all have 3 words.
It definitely had different. It was definitely supposed to be called something else.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it supposed to be Under the Siege? Because every Seagal movie back then had 3 words in the title. Like you just said, Above the Law.
Yeah.
Hard to Kill or whatever. Yeah, Seagal was the king of that.
Let me just see if I can find. Hold on.
I still can't believe the guy who directed Under Siege. So Harrison Ford is what? Just at home chilling, watching cable that night, and Under Siege comes on?
He got a screener of it. He got an early screener of it, and then...
I love that cake scene, man. Can we do that for The Fugitive?
Oh, yeah. It was originally called Dreadnought. Or something. Dreadnought or something.
Oh, not like N-A-U-G-H-T?
N-O-U-G-H-T.
Yeah.
And then, sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, I didn't think we were going to go down an Under Siege wormhole.
Yeah. Oh, man. It was originally called Dreadnought. The marketing department wanted to give the film a 3-word title like other Seagal films.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And they came up with the title Last to Surrender.
Last to Surrender.
Yes.
I don't think that would have worked as well.
Lawson and Seagal both hated the title. Seagal fought to have it changed, and the film ended up being called Under Siege.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? It's not often that I'm going to say these words. Back Seagal's play there.
Yes.
I think Under Siege worked out much better than Last to Surrender.
Yeah. Well, it's also one of the few Steven Seagal films to have a certifiable fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
It's actually, over 50%?
Yeah, so it's like 74% or something like that. And critics actually loved the movie. They called it Die Hard on a Battleship. So it's like...
Well, that was during the time when people were just trying to make Die Hard something. Like, it was like...
Die Hard in Space.
Die Hard in Space. Die Hard on a plane. Die Hard on a mall. Like, on a boat. Yeah.
It's the only Seagal movie to receive an Oscar nomination.
What?
It got 2 sound nominations. Okay. Didn't win either.
Editing and mixing, probably.
And so then I kind of went down a Steven Seagal wormhole.
Oh, he is just fascinating.
I mean...
He's still making those, like, 3-word action movies straight to... Well, now it used to be DVD. You'd see it in the grocery stores and gas stations. But now they're probably
streaming, straight to streaming.
Yeah, straight to streaming services.
So I wanted to figure out like where he kind of came from.
He's actually a legit martial artist.
Yeah, so he got famous because he brought Aikido, which was a Japanese like martial arts craft, and he brought it to America. And then he was also the first foreigner to ever be allowed to own an Aikido studio in Japan.
Oh, okay.
So he taught in Japan. He's the only American or like foreigner allowed to teach Aikido in Japan. So that's how he kind of got famous and like doing stunts, and then like started just like...
Well, I can be the...
Yeah.
I should be the stuntman.
Yeah, sure, he talked his way into
sure.
it. Yeah. He's considered the worst SNL host of all time. I didn't even realize that he hosted SNL. He hosted in 1991. This is like before Under Siege.
Spade probably has stories.
Spade is the one that said it.
Oh.
Spade
and he's the worst of all time?
Spade and Tim Meadows have both been on record talking about how he was the worst host of all time. And how he would like comment that they didn't know anything about comedy, you know? That like he knew what comedy was. Of course, he knows everything, right? And they're like, what are your credentials for knowing all of this comedy? And I guess Nicolas Cage like was hosting like a year later or something, and like made a joke about like that he was like the worst host of all time, and Lorne Michaels was like, no, that was Steven Seagal, like direct to camera. And so he's considered the worst of all time. And then, I mean, this guy is just like...
Oh, he's a real piece of work.
Yeah, he's a piece of work.
Didn't he, like, start a cryptocurrency? Did you get into that? He, started a cryptocurrency, like, a couple years ago?
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw an energy drink that he started.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, by the way, if you could think that taking this drink would turn you into... I would drink that energy drink.
You just want it for the ponytail.
Well, I would do anything for hair, to be honest.
He holds citizenship in Russia, Serbia, and the U.S.
Same.
He and Putin are friends because of all the martial arts.
Of course.
And apparently didn't even have to apply. Like, Putin just gave him a passport, like, personally, of course, you know. He's like, rather wait in line.
Here's my Russian passport.
I don't wait in line.
Take my Russian passport.
He's a sheriff's deputy in a small town in New Mexico border town.
Did he have a reality show about that?
Yes, and then he and Sheriff Joe Arpaio in Arizona were kind of like doing it together, and they ended up getting sued because they drove a tank into a guy's house.
Oh, of course.
Who they suspected of cockfighting, and they ended up killing like 121 chickens. Like, this guy just owned chickens, and then they killed the guy's dog.
What?
They like ran over his dog
with a tank?
Yeah. And so
wait, so their solution to busting up this cockfighting ring was to drive a tank through the guy's house?
Yeah. So they've been sued heavily for that.
Of course.
He broke Sean Connery's wrist during Never Say Never Again when he was like training him to fight. That was kind of... We'll just cut that out because that's not really that interesting.
I mean, it's
my
kind of interesting.
My favorite thing about Seagal is Steven Seagal, the singer.
Wait, he sings?
Oh, yes.
Wait,
of course.
Wait.
Wouldn't you believe that Steven Seagal is just a crooner?
But like how Vin Diesel sings? Like, you know how Vin Diesel just released some song? And he's like, he thinks that he's an amazing singer, but it's just kind of like...
Oh, I did not listen to any of the music, but I should have. You're right. That would have been better research. But he released an album.
Well, like a Christmas album or something?
Yeah.
Seagal sings the hits. Hey, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Shut up. I got it. Hiya. He released an album in 2005 called Songs from the Crystal Cave.
Oh, yeah, this sounds great.
He describes it.
Like going to iTunes like right now.
This is what the sound. He describes his original sound as outsider country meets world music meets Aikido.
Wait.
Outsider country.
Wait. So, when asked to describe, hey, so what type of sound are we going for here, Steve? Outsider country, which is what exactly? Like
not insider. It's outsider.
Like Unabomber type outsider?
No, outsider meaning like I don't play by the rules of country music.
Oh, okay. Because isn't that what country music is? Like not
I
playing
think he
by the
probably been an
rules?
outlaw, but he said that he's so into law enforcement.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to be an outlaw.
I'm not an outlaw.
He's more of an outsider.
I'm an outsider. I'm outside the law. Outsider country meets what now?
World music.
World music, which is like the...
Because he's obviously world traveled.
Oh yeah, he's got multiple passports.
Mm-hmm.
And then meets... So he's
Aikido.
like... He's just throwing this martial art in there, like a martial art has a sound?
Yes, well he has discipline within his voice as well.
Oh, that's good.
So his voice is also a weapon.
Yes, he's disarming the listeners.
Yes.
With the martial art element of his outsider country.
Yeah.
This is
absolutely.
This is
yeah.
fantastic.
Songs from the Crystal Cave. Somehow he convinced Lady Saw and Stevie Wonder to appear on the album.
Did they owe him a favor?
I don't know. In the liner notes, Seagal is listed as performing vocals, rhythm and lead guitar, drums, percussion, and clay pot. He performs he can play a lot of instruments.
He probably made his own clay pot to play on his own album.
He can probably clap, and that's about it. This was my favorite because I looked up some of the lyrics from his song.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Okay. I don't know what song this is from, but the lyrics go, "The last school I know would fuck you for money. Hey man, this is freedom of the press. Who you mean feeding the fuckers for free? Hey man, this is our Constitution. And you know the Fifth fucking Amendment? You turn this piece of paper into a weapon of mass destruction, our forefathers will be rolling over in their graves." That's
a lyric.
From a song.
That's a lyric. Can you
beautiful love
Can you
song.
play that back but sing it as Seagal?
The last school I know, fuck you for money. Hey man, this is freedom of the press. Who you mean feeding the fuckers for free? Hey man, this is our Constitution, and you know the Fifth fucking Amendment. You turn this piece of paper into a weapon of mass destruction, our forefathers would be rolling over in their graves.
Yeah, there's no rhyming there.
I mean, I don't know how it really goes, but I'm
gotta imagine.
assuming I did a better job.
That was 10 times better.
This was
Imagine singing that while playing a clay pot. Just saying.
Beautiful.
This
is from one of the love songs.
Wait, that one wasn't a love song?
No, that was more his Bob Dylan political.
That should replace Here Comes the Bride.
Yeah. Girl, what you really want all night? Me want the buddy.
What?
Make me feel nice. Boy, what you really want all night? Me want the punani. C for make nice. She want the buddy. Him want the punani. And me know it nice.
That's all real.
Yeah, that's all real.
Those are real lyrics.
I know. I'll never be that good of a writer, no matter how long I work this down.
Like a 12-year-old boy didn't write those?
God, no. It's just so funny.
Wow. He's an amazing person.
He owns a bulletproof leather jacket that looks like a kimono.
Same.
Who doesn't?
Same. I mean,
yes.
I wore that today on the show.
He who has not owned a leather kimono that's bulletproof.
A bulletproof leather kimono. Please,
cast the first stone.
Please step forward and walk among us. You are our shepherd.
My favorite thing is, one of my favorite things is that he claims to be a sword expert, and he says that auction houses keep him on retainer to authenticate their swords. Can you imagine being an auction house and being like, I don't know if this is real.
I don't know if this is real. Someone get Seagal on the phone. Quick.
He says it's real.
Wait, we gotta FaceTime him. He can't come in.
Yeah, he's driving a
Our Wi-Fi's down.
Poor guy's house in Arizona.
Okay, so wait, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, hold on. Auction houses keep him on retainer to authenticate swords because he's an expert. Okay, what would be your expert of authentic proportions here? Like
well, yours would not be vocabulary.
I'm a professional broadcaster. If an auction house kept you on retention for what would be your area of expertise to authenticate?
Sour candy. And be like,
different flavors.
Oh, this is cherry. Oh, those are Airheads. No, those are Sour Patch Kids. Like I could tell different candies apart. I think I'm pretty good at that.
Candies, yeah.
What would yours be?
That's good.
Autographs?
I don't know.
You have a lot of autographs.
I have a lot of autographs. I can tell when it's real or not. But no, I don't know. I have to think about that. I just wanted to ask you the question.
Yeah, gas mileage of different cars based on notes.
Logging, note taking.
That
is insane.
Yeah, it's like he just says things and nobody really disputes them because
how would you dispute that?
Yeah, why would you even care? Or
who thought that was a thing?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a sword authenticator for auction houses. What?
Yeah, no. The only sword expert is like to me, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is more of a sword expert than it. Like he really loves swords. Okay. This is my favorite Seagal story. This is the last one.
Okay.
He said he was immune to the judo chokehold. My dad will appreciate this because my dad is like a martial artist.
A judo chokehold, which obviously would just knock you right out. He's immune.
He said he's immune to it.
Because
he's that good. And he's just immune to it.
Oh, I thought he was like,
nobody can do it.
I have an extra vertebrae in my neck that makes me
Nobody
immune.
knows why, of course. He doesn't have proof or reasoning.
Right, of course.
He just says that he's immune to the judo chokehold.
Yep, same.
And to prove his point, he had another stuntman named Gene LaBelle perform the chokehold on him.
Okay.
And he passed out and shit his pants.
No way.
So he was immune and lost it?
Yeah.
Or he was never immune.
Maybe he lost immunity.
Yeah.
It could have been a bad day.
Yeah,
and,
maybe.
it just ran out.
Didn't meditate enough that day. But so that is...
He didn't sing enough. Or he didn't write... What was it? Songs of the Crystal Cave?
Songs from the Crystal Cave.
He didn't listen to that beforehand because that usually gets him in the zone.
Yeah, so that was my Steven Seagal wormhole,
wow.
Which was kind of fun.
Wow, I was a martial artist once.
Once?
Yeah, once. When I was...
when you got beaten up by somebody in a karate gi? What was her name?
Samantha.
Okay.
So when we lived in Virginia, they had karate lessons on the Army base, which was right next door. We were in the Coast Guard housing, and the Army was next door. And I went to go do it. I was like, Dad, let's do it. I think I was like 7 or 8. And we went over there, and I remember going in and looking around, and I went to get dressed, and I was like, this looks stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. That's as close as I came to joining karate when I was like 7.
Oh wow, yeah. No, my dad used to teach us different moves and like ways to hold our hands and stuff like that, but we didn't have any other instructors, and he was so busy with work, like he would just teach us whatever he could whenever he got home. But my dad was almost a black belt, like he was a 3rd-degree brown belt, and then his instructor moved away, and like he just wasn't able. And then he taught karate for a really long time when he lived in Northern California. So
I had a bunch of friends
very good at it.
Even when I moved to Alaska, I knew people who did it, and just kids my age.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. Yeah, no, I know.
I made it to the lobby where I watched everyone get dressed. And I was like,
I'm into the outfits just because they look super comfortable. I'm into anything that feels like pajamas.
Yeah, I understand. I live with you. So
I know. I know. I have a drawer of pajamas. I'm doing fine.
Bought you pajamas yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Yes, you did. Thank you again.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, last thing, really quick. On October 5th, 1992, R.E.M. releases Automatic for the People. It's his big album. It ended up being the #2 album, I think, of 1992.
Oh, wow.
I think Natalie Cole, like the duet that she did with her dad, was like bigger than that.
Oh, yeah.
And
That was
so
a cool
that
music
was
video.
the Natalie Cole one.
Yeah.
So R.E.M, I bring it up because college football started. R.E.M is from Athens, and I went to Georgia. And so R.E.M was really big in Georgia where I grew up. And even when I worked at the college radio station at Georgia State, we were 100,000 watts. We were the largest student-run college radio station in the country. We were the first people to play R.E.M, our college station. So and then we also we were the first to play Arrested Development and Indigo Girls and people like that. So a lot of these local bands that basically East Coast bands, where you had West Coast bands like Nirvana and all that, but this was East Coast, and so R.E.M was huge where I was from.
Oh, wow.
As big as Driving and Crying or whatever, they huge. And so this was their 8th album, but it was still super huge in 1992, and that's where Man on the Moon, if you believe, the hit songs on there were Man on the Moon, Drive, and Everybody Hurts.
I gotta say, I never liked them.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh.
It just seemed like...
Well, because a couple weeks ago I talked about Nirvana and Michael Stipe being Francis Bean's godfather.
Right.
I was just like, okay, I'll just bring up R.E.M. Again, like I said, not a lot happened. So
I
was grasping at straws.
I totally get it.
Why didn't you like R.E.M.?
I don't know. Just, I think by the time I was into different types of music, I was just, I was never exposed. You said this is their 8th album in 1992. The only music I listened to before 95 was country music.
Yeah.
The old 80s and early 90s country music. That's all I was exposed to. And then, then 95 was kids on the basketball team listened to Tupac because he just came out. And so it's oh, what's this? And then I got to school and it was oh, there's all these people from the city listen to all this old hip hop. And then I started getting exposed to that. And then one summer I worked at the beach and we only listened to classic rock. So I was super late to music.
Mm-hmm.
And so my tastes have always been older in terms of the classics, quote unquote. So their music just seemed too kind of down here, just kind of depressing music.
Yeah.
So it's just
even though they had a song "Shiny Happy People," which was
not into that. Life is depressing enough. I don't want to listen.
Well, I think that was that angsty '90s music. It was teen angst, everywhere. That's what Nirvana was, and that's what
But at least they were. But Nirvana was yes, that's if you listen to the lyrics closely, it's about that, and Nirvana's kind of depressing. But it was a hard rock feel, so you could listen to it to get you pumped up before a game, or
I guess
and other things. I just never vibed with R.E.M.
It was a really big album, and let's see. I thought there were some cool things about the album. First of all, I know some people listen to this are Georgia fans, and from
I didn't
Athens.
know they were from Georgia.
Yeah.
How about that?
And so Automatic for the People came from Weaverdy's Delicious Fine Foods, which was a Southern cooking establishment in Athens.
Okay.
And the words were found above the front door of the restaurant, and it's considered the best soul food restaurant in the opinion of R.E.M.
Oh.
And after receiving an order, the waitstaff responded with Automatic before dishing up the food. So they decided to call their song Automatic for the People, because of their favorite restaurant. Yeah.
That's a cool shout out.
The video for Everybody Hurts was directed by Ridley Scott's son, Jake.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they closed off a section. You remember that video where they're sitting in traffic? It's just tons and tons of traffic, and Michael Stipe and them would just kind of get out of the car and lead everybody away.
Oh, okay.
They filmed that on Interstate 10 outside of San Antonio, and they had to stage a huge traffic jam and shut down the freeway. It's kind of cool.
Whoa.
Jake Scott, Ridley Scott's son, said that Michael Stipe is one of the best actors he's ever worked with.
Actors.
They didn't go on tour and promote this album because they were really exhausted from their last tour. And I don't know if you remember at the time, Michael Stipe was like super skinny.
Yeah,
and everybody thought, and
like AIDS or something. Right?
Yeah, because Freddie Mercury had just died.
Yeah,
and because Freddie Mercury died of AIDS, everybody thought Stipe had AIDS.
Yeah,
and
he also just looks kind of sickly.
Yeah, and so he ended up hiring private investigators to find out where the rumors were started.
How about that?
But then he dropped all of it because he was like, I don't want to keep, like, the stigma of AIDS was so awful. He was like, I didn't want to perpetuate it by being like, I have no association with this disease. Like, he was like, he wanted to like normalize it and be like, whatever, if I have it, I have it, even though he didn't have it and got multiple tests and stuff like that. So he ended up dropping all of the lawsuits about it because he didn't want to add to the stigma. And I thought that was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool, actually.
One of their biggest songs was "Shiny Happy People," and that was the original theme for Friends.
No way.
But so they were going to make that the theme song for Friends, and then Michael Stipe turned it down. He was like, no, it's too commercial.
Oh.
He said no.
Not that dude, needed the money or anything, but like, imagine.
I think he would still turn it down. I guarantee Michael Stipe thinks it's still like, of course, no, I wouldn't want it for that show.
Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine like how big?
Well,
that
I'm
show
just trying to think like how that would have worked for the Friends Open.
Yeah, instead of the Rembrandt song. Yeah. Shiny happy people. I mean, they're like,
I guess it could have worked.
I think it could have worked.
Yeah, I guess it could have worked.
Because that song had a B-52s vibe to me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Another George band. Yeah.
I mean, the Rembrandt's one-hit wonder, so good for them, obviously. But I can't picture that song being the Friends Open. I mean, it's hard to think back and. Wow. Yeah,
R.E.M. was huge. I think the coolest thing about them that I found out was
what does R.E.M. stand for?
Great question. I didn't even look that up.
Oh.
Can you look it up right now?
I don't know. I'm just curious. It's like you can pause it, but
I mean, what does R.E.M. stand for? It's like, rapid eye movement.
Yeah, REM sleep. I mean, but like just knowing that, I'm sure it stands for something like super deep and meaningful. Might even be Georgia related, but
yeah, I don't know. And they claim that it doesn't mean anything.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, I think I guarantee that's probably true.
What, that it doesn't mean anything?
Yeah.
It's one of those unanswerable questions.
But their debut album was an album called Murmur, and it came out in 1983, and Rolling Stone called it, their debut album was called Murmur, and it came out in 1983. Sorry, let me say that again. Their debut album was called Murmur, and it came out in 1983, and Rolling Stone dubbed it Album of the Year for their debut album, and it beat out Thriller.
What?
Yeah, I know. Seems crazy, but it's crazy that a debut album would ever make a list like that, let alone be number one.
Okay,
they've been fan favorites, I think, of the music industry. I think they've been kind of music industry darlings for a long time.
Sure, that makes
especially
sense.
In the 80s, because I think their sound in the 80s was a little poppy, and then it got a little angstier as they went on. So, yeah. I mean, just crazy.
What were some songs? Do you know what song?
No, I didn't know any of the songs on Murmur.
Like, that thing, I mean, Thriller's like the greatest album of all time.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy.
So that is October 4th through the 10th of 1992.
1992.
I'll tell you one thing that one of the years I considered doing was 1990, because on October 4th, 1990, Beverly Hills 90210 premiered.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Da-na-na-na.
Imagine if Shiny Happy People had been that song.
That wouldn't have worked.
No, wouldn't have worked. But anyway,
Beverly Hills 90210 was pretty awesome.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, the whole time, like the conversations that, you and your friends have about, like, who's the hottest one, like Brendan or, Luke Perry, like which guy was the cutest, Brian Austin Green, all of that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that you would do with, New Kids on the Block. You're just like, oh, this guy's my favorite. This guy's my favorite.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, 90210. It's great. It taught me a lot, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You know?
Like what?
I think it taught me a lot about like sex and relationships and stuff like that. Things that you didn't really want to talk about or ask your parents. Like you end up watching on these shows and you're like, oh. Then you have like, oh, is that how? Well, that's how kissing works. You know, like you don't really see that as a kid in like the movies that you watch.
No, because plus you're making the jump from just like family friendly shows to like this show that was super edgy.
Yeah,
it was on Fox, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they dealt with suicide. They dealt with drinking, you know, some stuff like that you don't really even consider or think about, and then you see it on there, and then you're like, okay, I guess this is something I have to think about.
Yeah,
terrifying. I hope our son doesn't ever have to think about that.
Not watching TV, only sports. Hey, great job!
Thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. You made it more fun. It was like kind of a weird week, so it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, coming off of my week, I mean,
I know exactly.
We're in kind of a low, but we're gonna come back.
Yeah,
we're gonna come back. We're gonna finish the year strong.
I'll find other meteorites that have hit Chevy Malibu.
Man, I want a meteorite to hit my car.
Yeah, I do too. When you're in it. Right when you're driving it.
Hey, see if I can hit by a meteorite next week when we'll be back for episode 11.
Amazing.
All right, This Week in the 90s podcast, Chris Brockman.
Sarah Tiana.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.